Hello. This guidance, called Stepping Up, is for families and carers with children and young people with additional needs from early years through to 25. So this means from home to nursery to primary to secondary and to their life in the world of work and further education. It will also be useful for foster carers, childminders and professionals, and it has been consulted on and put together by families and young people, multidisciplinary professionals and agencies across education, health, care, voluntary organisations, housing, leisure and employment services. This is about planning for the future and making moving on or transition as smooth as possible. This document has tips, good ideas and questions to think about to help families, children and young people effectively navigate the various systems and services. Visits have been made to various educational settings to talk with children and young people about their experiences of change and what they would like to see happening to improve it. Families have responded to a survey led by the Parent Carer Forum, which questions what is working well around transition or moving on and what is not, and ideas for the future. So we've set out in this document called Stepping Up some guiding principles that are best practice for every child and young person regarding transition or moving on to the next setting. We have also very specific guidance for those who have additional needs that require enhanced support and guidance for those with complex needs who may require more specific support and intervention. An important element, whether it is in the early years, primary, secondary or post-16 stage, is the 4 outcomes of preparation for adulthood. These are employment and training, community inclusion, independence and good health. These will be golden threads throughout this guidance, with specific questions to ask young people on their journeys into adulthood and to raise at meetings and discussions. So what have young people said to us about transition or moving on? There's some very good things. It's fun meeting new people. What helps you? Talking to family, a map of the new school, familiarise myself with the layout and staff, maybe writing some stuff down. However, there are some concerns. I feel anxious. I've not had a good experience around moving. So some suggestions that young people have made to go through the process is that they would like to know who they're dealing with. They'd like to see the next place where they are to be and to have a trial run. But most of all, listen to me. So when parents were talked with and the suggestions sent out, what did they say? The key things that they said was effective communication, the school or setting has to be inclusive, and positive relationships so they feel comfortable through meetings. So this Stepping Up booklet has key principles in terms of transition or moving on. Number 1 is to make sure that all the planning is person-centred. That means centred around the young person, their likes, their aspirations, their hopes, their fears. Secondly, multi-agency collaboration, making sure all the agencies, whether it's health, social care, voluntary organisations, are there. Thirdly, it's family and carer engagement and commitment. Fourthly, ongoing review and adaptation, so making sure that at any stage the provision, the support is reviewed, and an emphasis on the preparation for adulthood outcomes. All of this includes a real inclusive culture. So the document throughout has good pointers for families, for young people and for professionals about good ideas. Have you thought about? Look it up. Check it out. all very practical, with lots of website links and areas that you can explore yourselves. So the key themes are around regular transition, transition for all children and young people, enhanced transition for those who need some support around additional support, and then complex transition. One of the other key features is the link to the SEND thresholds. So we have a link in the document to the SEND thresholds, and it's part of Gateshead approach to inclusion and the graduated approach. So this document was launched a couple of years ago and is now embedded into settings 0 to 25. It will share with you what should be in place in terms of thresholds 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in terms of the needs, what support should be there, and all the support and help from other agencies. So it gives parents, professionals, a real, very practical document that goes along with this Stepping Up document. So this goes from 0 to 25. Some of the key transition areas are within health and with social care. So there will be questions that you might want to ask your professionals in health about what's available, and this document will show you all the links, and with social care. But first, what sort of things can you do in terms of families, young people and carers to prepare? So what does your child enjoy? What sort of person are they? Do they like being with people, working with animals, preferring being outside or indoors, creative or musical, working with their hands? What's important to them? Like staying at home or being independent, discovering new places? What sort of work would they like to do? So get to know, listen, talk, explore at every single point what that young person would like to do. Young people have talked about the real world, and there is an amazing diagram which will be shown now about what is the real world to the young person. Many young people have talked to us about the need to develop a lifestyle, having fun, meeting friends, maintaining relationships, doing voluntary activities, choosing a lifestyle around all of those areas that everybody would want. Understanding also what support is available, money, welfare support, personal budgets, independence, accommodation. So lots of ideas. So this is the introduction to the Stepping Up document. There are lots and lots of ideas for families, for young people and professionals alike. Before we start though, I'd like to refer you to the top 10 tips for meetings with parents and carers in the Threshold document. This was compiled by parents and carers for the Threshold document to advise professionals in all agencies about what works best for them in terms of meetings. So I really do feel that everybody needs to look at those top 10 tips. It's going to be really important for young people to access the appropriate health care and social care that they may need. There's a list of really useful services in the document in healthcare: children's services 0 to 19 and adult services thereafter. The document talks about the role of GPs, therapists and continuing care support post-19. Things to think about as a family, as a carer and as a young person. There is a difference between children's and adults' healthcare, so ensure your GP is fully involved. Again, health checks for those young people with learning disability diagnosis from 14. Ensure that the right health professionals are involved in the transition process. Prepare your young person, your child, for visiting these health professionals. It's important that We have tell me only once, so they're not repeating their story again and again. Make sure you attend appointments, as some services may take you off their list if you miss too many. Your health practitioner will be able to advise on this and find out which services you can access. In terms of social care, there's lots of ideas in the Stepping Up document on useful services. The family hubs, which are co-located with a number of services and include holiday programs, peer support activities, sensory facilities. Personal advisors and a personal advisor allocated from the leaving care team, the role of the transitions team. They will advise on accommodation pathways to ensure that all transition is smooth. Early help, early intervention support for families is available. The role of the virtual school. The virtual school supports those children in care and their educational achievement, working across services to provide information and advice to parents and others. So things to think about as a family. Understand and research the range of services using this booklet. Ensure that all relevant professionals come to meetings. Is there a specific worker that you can talk to? Ensure if that you have a child that is out of authority, that all services are in place by the earliest stage. Access to community activities, voluntary support. This section is about contacts, services, support you can access. It is incredibly detailed and very useful. There are links to websites, to telephone numbers, to people you can contact. So please spend time looking through and researching. If you can do it with a friend or another professional, please do, so that you can feel supported. In addition, there will be a section on acronyms, which will give you an explanation if we've used some abbreviations about services. You can access the Stepping Up document on the local offer. Just look at the Stepping Up page. The thresholds can also be accessed on the local offer. There is an app that can be used on your mobile phone and can be accessed from the local offer, as well as an easy read version of the document. So plan, research, and use the next section in the Stepping Up booklet for all this information that you will be able to access.